know the rules. Please remember, tip the Wookiee bartenders 20%. No droids, no money hunters, no Reylos, no Rey Nobodies. We do this for the love of Star Wars. I am your Wookiee Wrangler, your Chaos Coordinator, Scoundrel Scheduler, and basically, I run the cantina. This is my channel, so I get to say whatever I want. So I woke up last night and already saw people were discussing the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 1. Actually, Chapter 17, if you think about it, because it is a continuation of what Jon Favreau is doing right now, and which is fixing Star Wars. So I was really hyped for this. I'll give you a little background. Boba Fett is not my favorite character. All right, I don't like him. As I said in the video I posted, the upload I put up, I thought he was a droid. He had no soul. He was nothing but armor. And I'm not one of those people who falls in love with something because it's cool. All right. And all the guys are like, "Oh, his armor's so cool." It's like, he only said 5 lines in the entire original trilogy, okay? We didn't really get a sense of any humanity with Boba Fett until we saw the prequel trilogy. When we saw him as a child, the literal, exact, unaltered duplicate of Jango Fett, whom Boba Fett called father, his father, okay? Jango wanted an unaltered clone of himself, which is what he got. Okay, so that is what they say, and that is exactly what happened. And it was sad. I mean, the fact that Lucas gave the clones humanity was very interesting to me. The fact that humanity carried over into the Clone Wars TV show and into the Bad Batch is also very interesting. There's something unnatural about them, but the fact of the matter is that they are manufactured lives is really, it's kind of like when you talk about Blade Runner and the replicants, okay? They're not human, but there's a humanity there, okay? And it's something to be puzzled about. So underneath that armor in The Empire Strikes Back is what, DNA and everything is a human being, a man. He's a clone, but there you go. So I wasn't impressed with him. Started to get to know him a little bit during Attack of the Clones, and then in Clone Wars, where the cartoon animated version of Boba Fett, as a kid, he looked like a Chucky doll. All right, I mean, it's like, guys, do better. You can at least try to do better. And then they had him, show up now, and fans have been clamoring, not me, but there are fans out there that were clamoring for a Boba Fett movie. And after the rise of the trash fire that was The Last Jedi, and the rise of, or the Soy War story, they weren't going to have a movie. They were done making anthologies. And it wasn't because Rogue One was bad. It's because fucking Kathleen Kennedy doesn't know what the flying fuck she's doing. Okay? And Bob Iger, who's only got 2 days now, before he turns into a pumpkin, had to do something. So we haven't had an original Star Wars movie in production, really in 5 years. Because if you look at The Rise of Shitwalker, that was already in production. That was in production. That movie was already being thought about and talked about when Disney bought Lucasfilm. Okay, there you go. So this is where those movies that they were talking about making are ending up in streaming. But I think if you want to, like, I think what it was really interesting. Let me go back. Variety had a great review of the Book of Boba Fett, Chapter 1. A pared down, simple TV version of a TV show that goes back to the basics. Basically, Variety admits at least The Rise of Shitwalker was a bad movie, and that Star Wars after that was in trouble. Look, the woke folk are never going to admit that Star Wars was in trouble after TFA. Okay, but again, if you look at the money and you look at the merchandise sales and the fact that you can still find TFA merchandise for sale at places like Ollie's and other discount stores, so that's how long Star Wars has been in trouble. Okay. So this show and The Mandalorian they're going to be very simple. And it's very interesting to me listening to people talk at them being like disappointed, and I'm like, why? And they come up with a reason why. It's like, or man, it was just okay. And it's like, well, we as a society do not know how to watch TV for content and context or movies anymore. All right. And when you watch a movie like The Last Jedi and you watch it and you know it's trash, but the woke folk like it. The reasons why it's trash that we hate it is for the reasons why they like it. Hey, Matt Piranha, the reasons why there's some people who don't understand it, calling the Book of Boba Fett okay, or they didn't like it. They don't know the lore. Yes, Max Rebo did survive the barge going up, okay? And so did Bib Fortuna, all right? Nitpicking things to be bitchy about is bullshit. And it's not the way. Being bitchy about this and nitpicky is no way to go through life. All right, saying that right now. What we saw is the very beginning. It was elegant storytelling. We got background of how Fett got to where he got. Now let's explain a little more detail about what's going on here. We have a Boba Fett who's physically damaged. Okay, he needs to go into the Bacta tank more than a few times. Okay, he's also mentally damaged. Okay, emotionally damaged. This to me says this is not the same guy that took Han Solo away in The Empire Strikes Back and was chasing him higgledy-piggledy. Oh yeah, I did too, Matt Piranha. Yeah, I wish it had been longer too. But this is not the same guy. Go back and remember. Return of the Jedi, Han has got that gaffy stick in his hands. Or staff, or whatever that thing was. Boba Fett where? And he swings around, he hits the jetpack, and Fett goes flying off the sand skiff, hits the side of the sail barge, and rolls into the Sarlacc. Fett wakes up, he doesn't know which way's up and which way's down. He's there in this disgusting, and the Sarlacc digests, of course, acid. That's how you digest food, all right? Acid. So the armor's getting damaged. Fett sees a stormtrooper dead in there. He takes the breathing apparatus thing and uses it, and then sticks his hand through the gut walls, and sets the Sarlacc on fire and gets out. Okay. That, we don't know how long he was in there. Could have been 20 minutes, but it was obviously at least a day. Hey, Trayla. Okay, it was obviously at least a day. You see him struggle up through the sand. He didn't go back up through the opening like I thought he did. And, I know there were a lot of EU nutbags going, he should have come out naked. It's Disney. It's rated PG. They're not going to show naked Tamara Morrison. So please shut the fuck up, okay? Thank you. And he looks up at the Tatooine sky and passes out. What I wish they would have shown was a Millennium Falcon and Red 5 leaving. That would have been freaking epic. That would have been so freaking cool. I would have said, you have to do that. You have to trust me, the fans will go nuts. If they just get a glimpse, they will love it. That's one thing they missed. Okay. And the episode was too short, but, no, I don't have the coof. Oh, I am too, Mad Piranha. So anyway, we get to where the Jawas, who, again, somebody was complaining about Jawas. It's Tatooine. The Jawas are scavengers. The Jawa, I'm going to tell you something. If you've ever been in a desert, you see something on fire, you can see that shit from a long way away. So that sand crawler going along, they probably saw the sail barge go up. They saw the fight. They watched the sail barge go up and start going towards it because they wanted to scavenge. They get there, they find Boba Fett, they take his armor. And then one of them hits him in the head and then leaves him there. Then the Sand People show up. Sand People to me are very interesting because we're starting to see them as a fully realized part of the Star Wars universe. They're not just barbarians. You have this society going on. They're very reminiscent of Native Americans. And they take Fett away. He tries to escape. He gets screwed over by a Rodian that was captured by them too. But then that's a flashback. He comes out of the Bacta because he is now the crime lord. He is now the syndicate head. And he has Jabba's palace. Okay. So he has an audience. The first person that shows up, I don't know what those aliens are. Gives them money, tribute, fine. Second is a Trandoshan, and it is a reminiscent of The Godfather. In fact, I think that the thing was called Strachey. And one of the 5 families, the one that had New Jersey was Strachey in The Godfather. Okay. So there's like a hat tip to Mario Puzo and Francis Ford Coppola. And it's really funny how Fett goes, this is weird, I used to work for them. Okay. It's kind of weird. It was kind of a funny line. Anyway, comes in, they talk, and the Trandoshan says, may you never leave Mos Espa. Oh yeah, I agree, Matt Piranha. May you never leave Mos Espa. I guarantee you there are people who didn't like the show or thought it was meh, who didn't understand that was a threat. Okay, that was a threat. Okay, again, for the cheap seats, that was a threat. Okay, those people threatened him. He knew it right away. Then you have the mayor of Mos Espas, Major Domo, who's a Twi'lek, comes in and basically kind of threatens him too. So there are more flashbacks to being stuck with the Sand People. Very abusive to him, by the way. And you get an indication that Fett's his hold on Jabba's cartel is very tenuous. He goes to a bar and meets the Madam, who's played by Jennifer Beals, a beautiful Twi'lek, and she basically pays him some money, which is basically what the mafia did. When the Black Hand first arrived in the United States, they basically victimized other Italians. Okay. Then they started victimizing everybody. Okay. Pay us tribute and we will protect your business. If you don't pay us, we'll destroy it. Nice little pharmacy you've got here. I hate to see something bad happen to it. How much do you want? $5,000 a week. Okay. That's a racket. So we see Boba Fett pulling a racket. Fennec Shand is saying, you should really be carried on a litter. And he's like, no, I'm going to walk on my own 2 feet. And he tells the Madam, I walk on my own 2 feet. It's different. He's not trying to intimidate people. He doesn't want them to be afraid. He wants them to be in business together because it's better for everybody. Kind of like Lucky Luciano did when he created the commission. The heads of the 5 families would get together and talk out problems rather than killing each other. Oh, I agree with you on that. And it's one of those things where, when I watched it, I go to myself, there are going to be people who don't like this. And the reason is they're not smart enough to understand what's going on here. Okay. And there are people out there that just aren't. I mean, it was fine. Trust me, if it was bad, I would tell you. Okay. Jon Favreau did an amazing job writing the script. Again, it is simple, it is elegant, it is to the point. Anyway, so they leave the establishment and they get attacked, likely because basically the Major Domo, when they had that audience, told Boba Fett, we will be sending another message, which him being attacked on the street was another message. I'll get into that about my feelings for Boba Fett because I do agree with you, Ginger, on that. I hated him. In fact, I still think if they wanted to keep him a bad guy, Han finally getting into a gunfight with him and killing him would have been the perfect way for Fett to end. Okay, we're not going to get that. What we might get is the Alliance asking his help and sending Solo. All right. Again, this is a different Boba Fett now after everything that's happened. When you see his reaction All right, so let's go back. So they're getting attacked. Flashback. Boba Fett is dragged out with that Rodian by that teenage Tusken Raider, and they observe a moisture farmer. It could have been Uncle Owen and not Beru's moisture farm. It's owned by somebody else now. Getting killed while this gang steals his water. Okay. In it, Boba Fett turns away. He's disgusted. So he's disgusted. And then the kid takes him to a spot and basically says, start digging. And they're finding these gray round things with water in them. Now, somebody was complaining earlier what that was. Well, they have moisture farms. Why do they need to do that? Well, here's the deal. Moisture farms aren't owned by Tusken Raiders. How do they get their water? You notice that they're completely covered from the sun. Okay. And that has something more to do with protection than anything else. They have to be able to find water, and these little stone things or whatever they are have water in them. So the kid forces Boba and the Rodian to start digging. And they find this, whatever the hell it was, segmented centaur-like creature with like 8 legs or 6 legs. Or I was just like, and it was fucking gross. And it goes out, it kills the Rodian, kills that poor watchdog, throws the kid far away, and Boba Fett takes his own slave chains, which is an echo back to Return of the Jedi, and Leia chokes this monster to death, and they take the head back to the village, and the chief sets him free. Boba Fett free. So we've got that, and then we've got Fennec Shannon and Boba Fett being attacked in the street. Fett gets himself hurt, so he's got to go back to the Bacta tank, and that's the last time you see him. And Shan catches one of the two that escaped, and she's gonna drag his ass back to face whatever Boba Fett has got in store for him. He wants to know who is behind it. I'm pretty sure it was the mayor. The Trandoshans, so this is kind of like watching The Godfather. It was kind of like watching that was kind of like a different version of what happened to Don Vito Corleone. In a way, so that was pretty cool. The thing I like about this is they made Boba Fett human. You've got this sense that the Sarlacc turned him into changed him. All right? But I posit this. If he had fought Luke would have killed him. No doubt in my mind. If Han Solo could see, he would have killed him. Okay? The Boba Fett in Return of the Jedi wasn't the one we thought he was. Okay? He wasn't prepared. He wasn't on his A game. He was already on the way down. And what you saw in the Book of Boba Fett episode 1 is that guy coming to terms with being older, not being the spry ass kicker that he used to be, even though he still is, and coming to terms with his humanity, his mortality. Okay, he's got PTSD. That's why we're getting all these flashbacks. He's physically not the same guy he was. All right. This is an evolved character, so he's got to use this up here. Unless, all right. And he knows it, which is why he doesn't want to rule by force. Okay. Which is why he wants to make deals. Okay? This is an older, wiser man we have. This is a man who's struggling. Physically, obviously, and emotionally. And it's really interesting to see this because I didn't expect, when you watched Mandalorian, was it episode 13, The Tragedy, which Robert Rodriguez directed, it, no, it's not. I mean, it really isn't a bad career move. And it's really interesting to me watching how Rodriguez directed Tamara Morrison as Boba Fett. We didn't get this high wire crazy bullshit. We got a guy who knew how to fight, who used his wits more than brawn, and, killed a bunch of stormtroopers. Okay? That is the Boba Fett I think everybody is going to have to get used to. Okay? He's not like when, the chick, the female Mandalorian went after him in the rescue, when they got into the fight, or after the rescue, or before they got into that fight. 20 years ago, he'd have kicked her ass. He would have absolutely obliterated her. Now, not so much. Okay. He's using this, though. This makes him even more dangerous, in my opinion. Okay. This is why the show is so good, is you see these layers. Fennec Shand is kind of just there. She offers him advice. She's his backup, but she's really not a multifaceted character like he is. But again, this is his story. There you go. What do I didn't really. All right. What's really interesting watching this was seeing how that leak that came from Reddit and then disappeared was so wrong. It was so wrong. And remember the leak that they were going to show him riding a Rancor? The creature that he rode was whatever that thing was. That monstrosity. For all we know, that was one of Jabba's pets. That just buried itself in the sand and was sleeping. And they woke it up. All right. It was... that part freaked me out, man. I was like, what the fuck? But no, I don't think we're going to see Boba Fett riding a Rancor. We still could, but that little part there was enough for me, okay? And there are complaints that it was a lot like The Mandalorian. So what? So what? The Mandalorian's good. I would much rather see that than something else, okay? And we've got 8 episodes, so this was just a little bit, okay? And we're still going to be getting flashbacks, all right? We're still going to be seeing flashbacks, which is, I think, great. We'll get more of a backstory to Fett before, because now we have him after. So all in all, I mean, I said a 4.5, 9.5 on the scale of 4.5 of 5 stars, and 9.5 of 10 points. The direction was great. The acting was great. The art department did a great job. The story was really interesting to me because you got to see a lot more about what Tatooine is like, and you got to see what it was like after Jabba was killed. All of a sudden, you see chaos happening. there's a big vacuum. Big Fortuna tried to take over. You know, didn't last long. But we're not, we're there and we're not. Because here's the deal, you guys. There are two stories. There's the backstory, and then there's the current one. And they're both running two and two together. So, and I like the way that's working out. I do. You know, the next one should be really good. I really wish they'd at least give you a teaser trailer for it. And they don't. And I'm like, you know, but again, the only complaint I got is this. When he looks up at the sky after coming out of the pit, he should have seen the Falcon and Red 5 leaving. But then you go to a part in that same montage. He's being dragged behind a Bantha in a sandstorm. And was that sandstorm during the time when Han and Leia and Luke, Lando and Chewbacca and the droids were going back to the ships? Okay, so you might not have seen it. But still, depending on how long you know, he was in the Sarlacc pit before he got out. You know, there could have been a sandstorm, but the idea of him looking up and seeing basically the bane of his existence leaving, Han Solo, getting away again with help from his friends, would have been just freaking awesome. You know, he sees it low. He sees him leave like low over the horizon, or they're going over his head. And then he passes out. You know, that would have just been fucking awesome. But anyway, I gotta go. So I don't know what I'm gonna be doing later. I might just watch the Book of Boba Fett yet again, because I like it. This is Steph, signing out. I'll see you around the galaxy.